Marked development in DRC political and security landscape. Former President Joseph Kabila has been put on trial in absentia for war crimes, including homicide, rape, torture, deportation, and organizing armed rebellion. A military court is demanding the death penalty alongside lengthy prison terms for conspiracy and abetting atrocities. His return earlier this year to Goma in the east of the country, territory held by the M23 rebels, preceded the lifting of his immunity and the suspension of his party. Now, this trial intensifies tensions amid an already fragile eastern region and a recently brokered peace deal with Rwanda. To help us unpack the implications, we're now joined by Congolese political scientist Didier Bayeye. Didier, thank you very much indeed for joining us and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Peter. Good morning to the listeners, and thank you for having me this morning.
So, I mean, this is quite big. A former president being put on trial in this way. How significant do you think this is in terms of the political evolution of the DRC at this time?
This is really big, like you have said it, because nobody would have expected a former president who has led the very same country for 18 years to be put on trial. But again, it as much as this is big, it is equally big for the country and sending a very strong message to any other leader or any other um, a political figure that would conspire with the enemy to betray the state, to betray the country. There's a lot of things which have been unfolding during this trial, and not just for the trial, Peter. Let's just say it's the main reason why the eastern part of Congo has been in so much trouble and disturbed for so many years. So, yeah, this way of dealing with things, I guess, would lead the DRC to a new era of peace, transformation, and progress.
So, some people might say that this is more political than actual accountability. What's your take? It probably means that there's a little bit of both here.
Yeah, there is a little bit of both. I would even say more political because this is politics. It is politics, and we cannot undermine the fact that it is politics. And those who are saying this is more political, they are not wrong. But the approach or the reason behind that might just be different. But it is definitely political. Considering being a president of the country, this is a political position, and betraying a country, it has to do with politics. So we cannot deny that. But the bottom line here, or the question to ask, is that everything that's been said about the former president Joseph Kabila during this military court proceedings, I guess that is where the question should be. But saying that this is just political accusation, it's to seek political vendetta and so on. I don't think that is the right way of looking at this. The question is that true or not? Is he really implicated to the accusation brought forward against him or not? Do they have any evidence? What are those evidence? I guess then we will get more light about his accusation, about why he has to be taken to trial, even in absentia, for this matter.
How much support does former President Kabila still enjoy in the DRC? And could a trial like this fuel tensions that could escalate?
No, not at all. Not at all, Peter. What we see and we hear, it's very small portion of people. When I'm saying very, I'm talking a very limited number, very small number of people who are very close to him, is very close, either members of his political party or those of his family that tend sometimes to raise and to support in support of the former president Joseph Kabila, but the population opposing itself against his sanction or arrestation, even arrest or even the death penalty that the military auditor general has asked the court to impose on former President Kabila. It's just a small portion of people. So it's a uh, 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 I guess the population altogether has grown enough to understand the crime behind this, to understand how bad the situation. How come the very same person who has led the country, who's supposed to defend the country under the flag and the oath, is the very same person who's supporting the militia, groups to kill the population. We keep getting reports from the UN and different civil society organizations of mass killings, atrocities in the eastern part of Congo, mainly in the provinces or cities occupied by these terrorist rebels. And the biggest support they get is coming from the former president Joseph Kabila, not because people are suspecting him to be the person behind. Peter, we remember that even before, far before this case start, many people have been arrested, including those very close to the leader of the M23 movement. That were coming into the capital, Kinshasa, to spy out on the government in place. And not only that, also including some high official military still who were still active in the army, also apprehended as part of the conspiracy to topple the current government. And in their secret or behind closed doors interrogation, they allegedly made as being the mastermind behind this and behind the support. In fact, he's also the biggest funder, putting funds available for the M23 to operate and function. And we can all agree that this is something very big and very serious that nobody would have expected a former president to act in this manner against the country he has ruled far beyond the constitutional terms could give him to rule.
I mean, this all raises quite a number of questions because if it is true that Rwanda is behind the M23, where does that place former President Kabila in terms of relationships with Kigali? Are they acting in concert, or are these two separate missions?
Yes, they are acting in concert, and they've been acting in concert for a long time, as long as former President Joseph Kabila was still in power. He was still in concert with Rwanda. During his submission, the military auditor general, General Likulia, court, he also touched the issue of identity theft by the former president Joseph Kabila, who did entire country by calling himself Kabila under the name of the former president Kabila. And he gave his real, apparently, allegedly, his real name. He's known with before he was president, born from both parents from Rwanda, referred to or known as um, Hippolyte Kanambe. This seems to be his real name. And he also mentioned the late Professor Ngoyi Mukena, who unfortunately passed on, who was selected, and he made a media appearance before he died, on how he was approached by the Kabila clan and asked to make of Kabila a Congolese. Hence, he was given the name Kabila Kabange,
Right,
to be
right.
seen as
We're,
Congolese
we're
and be
running out of
accepted.
time, but I
So,
do want to
yeah,
ask you
there is
one
a
last
lot, a
question.
lot.
Um, will he get a fair trial, given all of this?
He was given the opportunity, okay, to appear in person or be represented, or his legal representation. This thing didn't just start without him. Without him being notified, all the process were followed. So he was given the opportunity for fair trial. And what do we call fair trial, Peter? Is in such situation, he comes forward, or his lawyers come to present also his counter argument that whatever is presented against Kabila is not true. This is the situation, and put in their submission. Then it becomes fair, a fair trial. But when they decide to boycott or just not show up at all and without any explanation, this is also seen as sabotaging the institutions of the states, and which is another a criminal offense. So the opportunity was given for a fair trial.
Didier, that's where we'll leave it. Thank you so much indeed for your insights on this particular development. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks a lot, Peter. Always a pleasure to be on your program. Have a good day.
That was Didier Bayeye, a Congolese political scientist, making sense of this trial in absentia of former President Joseph Kabila, who's standing trial for many issues, including war crimes, homicide, rape, torture, deportation, and organizing an armed rebellion. We'll keep on top of that story for you.
The KwaZulu-Natal Convention Bureau